Haunting waltz, the billionaire's mockery turns brutal when the maid dances like a champion. The lights dimmed in the sprawling mansion as laughter erupted from the packed ballroom, the kind that made the walls tremble. Nostrils flared, a heavy scent of expensive perfume mingled with something metallic. Live music floated, a haunting melody that hinted at secrets buried deep within its notes. It was a night to remember, or perhaps a night to regret. Guests fluttered like butterflies, draped in silks and colors too bright to be real, but in the shadows, something stirred. Amidst the grandeur stood Lily, the maid, her worn dress contrasting sharply with the shimmering gowns encircling her. She had never belonged in this world of shimmering champagne flutes and sparkling gemstones. Yet, as the music slowed, all eyes turned to her. A curious magic spun. She began to move, her feet barely touching the ground, gliding across the polished floor like a wisp of smoke. But just as whispers of admiration began to rise, a loud scoff broke through. It was Bruce Donovan, the billionaire, his face twisted in mockery. "Is that a dance or a desperate plea for attention?" he sneered, laughter bubbling up behind him like an unwanted tide. The snickers of his friends stung the air. Lily's heart sank, each painful beat echoing in her chest as embarrassment surged through her. She hesitated, her body locked in place, the music turning almost sinister in its rhythm. The room felt colder, shadows creeping closer, as if the walls themselves were suckered into Bruce's contempt. But just then, something shifted. A spark, a light in her focused determination, she clenched her fists, feeling the pulse of the music thrum through her, and with a breath that barely held back the weight of the room's judgment, she began again, faster now, stronger, turning mockery into a haunting showcase of raw talent. Before we continue, I need to tell you something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to their system and many people are missing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, click the bell and select all notifications so you don't miss future videos. And if you can leave a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, tell me in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. With each twirl, silence overtook the room, breaths caught in throats as the absurdity of the situation faded. She flowed like a river, a tempest swirling around the gaze of mocking patrons who now sat in rapt attention. Gasps echoed, eyes widening as her feet danced recklessly, possessed her emotion exploding into the air as defiance. This was no longer a dance. It was war, yet unknown to her. The shadows had not just crept closer, they had gathered like a storm waiting to strike. A sudden crash cut through the haunting waltz, the chandelier swayed dangerously, drawing gasps from the crowd. Disbelief hung thick, inching its way into every heart as Lily spun to find the source. In that moment, the specter of the unknown loomed large, and a single question pulsed louder than the rhythm of the music. What truly lay hidden in the depths of that ostentatious estate? The chandelier swung perilously after the crash, its crystals shimmering ominously under the dim lights. Gasps filled the air as a few guests instinctively recoiled, their faces pale and eyes wide with shock. Lily felt her pulse quicken, the beat of the music now overshadowed by the echo of the falling glass. She glanced around, searching for clarity amidst the chaos. Bruce Donovan's laughter faded into confusion. "What was that?" he muttered, glancing at his friends, who looked just as lost. The tension was palpable, the energy in the room transformed from mockery to genuine fear. Suddenly, an elegant lady near the front staggered back. "Someone help!" she shrieked, pointing toward the corner of the ballroom. A dark figure loomed just beyond the doorway, half hidden in shadow, its identity concealed. The laughter subsided entirely, leaving a dreadful silence that draped over the crowd like a heavy blanket. Lily's instincts kicked in, and she stepped forward, her heart racing, eyes locked on the figure. What she saw took her breath away. It was Cassie, the estate's former maid, her face etched with desperation and terror. Lily's mind raced with unanswered questions. Cassie had vanished weeks ago, rumored to have left the estate in disgrace. Now she stood before them, disheveled and haunted. "Lily!" Cassie gasped, her voice trembling as she stumbled forward. You have to listen. They're coming. Panic gripped her, eyes darting around as if something unseen lurked just behind her. The room erupted into whispers. What does she mean? Coming for who? The guests exchanged glances, their earlier fascination morphing into suspicion, suspicion swirling like a tempest around Lily. Who's coming, Cassie? She asked, forcing her voice to remain steady despite the rising tide of fear, but before Cassie could reply, another crash thundered throughout the room. The laughter returned, only now it was frantic and tinged with hysteria. A gust of wind swept through the hall, extinguishing the few candles that flickered defiantly against the darkness. Bruce, sensing the crowd's rise in anxiety, stepped closer to Lily, an uncharacteristic seriousness crossing his features. This is your fault, he hissed, venom lacing the words. What have you done? The walls of the mansion seemed to lean in closer, encasing them in a web of dread. Lily stood frozen, Cassie's haunted eyes gripping her like a vice. She could feel the shadows closing in, heavy and suffocating. Run! Cassie screamed suddenly, breaking free from the spell of fear. You don't have much time. In an instant, the atmosphere changed again, people surged toward the exits, panic spreading like wildfire. The once glamorous ballroom devolved into chaos, rich gowns and sharp suits mingling in a frantic rush to escape. Lily felt her own body torn between action and inaction. Instinct urged her to flee, to join the stampede, but something deeper drew her toward Cassie. The truth hung in the air, thick and pungent, but it was eclipsed by the rush of fear. We have to stick together. Lily shouted, forcing the words past her lips, but the frenzied crowd drowned her out. Bruce, unable to comprehend, stood rigid, his strong facade cracking beneath the weight of the unknown. This isn't over, he warned, the menace in his tone unmistakable. Just as Lily moved toward Cassie, a door burst open. A group of masked figures spilled into the ballroom, intentions obscured beneath dark hoods. Gasps filled the air anew, horror crystallizing across every face. Lily's heart dropped as she realized the depth of the nightmare emerging before her. The figures advanced, and she inhaled, air turning to ice in her lungs. What did Cassie know? What were the shadows preparing to unleash? As the unknown figures surrounded them, only one thought churned through Lily's mind: the night was far from over. The figures advanced, nothing but darkness and intent wrapped in fabric. The ballroom, once filled with laughter and fine wine, now felt like the eye of a storm. In the dim light, the masked intruders moved gracefully, asserting their presence with an air of chilling authority. Lily's breath came quick and shallow. Panic blossomed in her chest, and she glanced at Cassie, desperate for answers. But Cassie's wide eyes were fixed on the approaching figures, a mix of fear and recognition shimmering beneath her disheveled appearance. Cassie, talk to me. Lily urged, her voice barely breaking through the chaos. But the words seemed lost, swallowed by the overwhelming dread as the figures closed in, boots thudding softly against the polished floor in a haunting rhythm. The crowd erupted into a new fervor, screams mixing with the sound of rushing footsteps as guests fought to find safety. Yet, instead of fleeing, the figures moved with precision, blocking exits, mastering the panic with an eerie stillness that made Lily's skin crawl. Run! Bruce shouted, pulling at Lily's arm, his protective instinct finally breaking through his previous ire. Now! No! Wait! Lily shouted back, torn between survival and the urge to protect Cassie. We can't leave her. The intruders paused, and from their midst, a voice sliced through the air, smooth and calm yet icy cold. You're all in our web now. There's nowhere to run. Confusion rippled through the crowd. Fear spiked, faces twisted in horror. The entity behind the voice stepped forward, the masked figure's presence radiating authority. As the light caught the edge of the mask, a glimmer of familiarity flashed in Lily's mind, a fleeting thought, then it was gone. What do you want? Who are you? Lily managed to gasp, stepping slightly ahead of Bruce, defiance mixing with fear. I am the reckoning, the voice dripped with disdain. And you, dear Lily, are at the center of it all. The threads of your life are tangled in complexities you can't even begin to understand. The crowd pulsed with tension as silence reigned, only the heavy breathing and whispered fears audible. Lily, heart pounding, felt the weight of their eyes on her, questioning her, accusing her. She stole a glance at Cassie, whose earlier resolve was faltering, her lips trembling. Lily started, but was interrupted as a hand shot out from the shadows, clutching Cassie's wrist tightly. Before she could scream, the intruder yanked Cassie away. Panic ignited in Lily's veins. "Leave her alone." The words tore from her throat, raw with desperation. The masked figure spun, the grip on Cassie tightening. "Oh, but she's one of the keys to your little riddle, isn't she?" Lily's mind raced. What riddle? What did they want from Cassie? 1,000 questions lurked behind her eyes, but before she could sort through the chaos, Cassie's face twisted in anguish as she struggled against her captor. "Lily, listen to me," Cassie cried, voice hoarse, panic sprouting in her gaze. "You have to confront what lies beneath. They'll take everything from you if you don't." But her voice was cut off, both by the noise of terrified guests and the unraveling situation around them. The crowd began to splinter, some darted for the exits, but many froze in place, paralyzed by either fear or intrigue. The figure holding Cassie stepped back into the shadows, enshrouding her in darkness. "You were warned, Lily," the voice echoed. "You have a choice to make." The words hung in the air, thick with threat and mystery, as the rest of the masked figures encircled the remaining guests like predators stalking their prey. Lily's heart raced as the ground shifted beneath them. The night was far from over, but it had taken a drastic turn. What did Cassie know? What choice lay ahead? The storm of unknown intentions swirled around them like the murky shadows cast by the flickering lights, and in that moment, Lily felt the weight of the mansion's secret settling heavily on her shoulders. As the intruder's chilling laughter echoed through the room, a single thought crystallized in Lily's mind: she was about to plunge deeper into a darkness she couldn't even fathom. The room felt suffocating, a thick curtain of tension draping over them. Lily's heart thundered against her ribs, echoing a primal instinct: fight or flight. She glanced at Bruce, who was still holding her arm, eyes wide, mirroring her fear. "Do something," Bruce hissed, scanning the crowd for a way out. But Lily knew this wasn't just chaos, it was a trap. The masked figures were orchestrating terror like a symphony, their presence tightening around them as the world outside faded away. Each scream from the guests sounded like gunfire, exploding against the walls of the grand ballroom. "Shut up!" one of the masked figures barked, and the guests complied, stifling their cries, chests heaving with panic. The figure holding Cassie was almost swallowed by the shadows, but Lily could still see her friend's desperate struggle, the way her limbs flailed as she fought to be free. It was a sight that gnawed at Lily's very core, igniting a fierce determination. "Cassie!" Lily yelled, her voice breaking the suffocating silence once more. "I won't leave you." The masked figure stepped forward, dragging Cassie with cruel efficiency. "Oh, Lily, you still don't understand," the voice dripped with mockery. "This is your choice, your moment. Save your friend, and lose yourself, or play the hero and lose even more." It was a riddle too dark for Lily's mind to process. What did this creature mean by losing herself? She felt lost already, torn between saving Cassie and ensuring their group's safety. "Let her go!" Bruce shouted, stepping forward, his hands raised in challenge. Defiance burned in his eyes, and all at once, Lily felt grateful for his presence. They were in this together. But the masked figure merely laughed. "Bravery without strategy is a fool's errand," it said, tightening the grip on Cassie's wrist until a gasp escaped her lips. "Enough!" a booming voice interrupted, slicing through the tension like a knife. From the corner of the room, an older gentleman emerged, another masked figure, his demeanor commanding and sharp. "This isn't the time for games. We have what we came for. Begin the reveal." Dread settled into Lily's bones. "What reveal?" The air hummed with a violent energy, crackling like a storm destined to break. One by one, the masked figures began to peel off their disguises, and gasps erupted through the crowd. Names of local elites and respected members of the community emerged beneath the masks, revealing faces that were both familiar and treacherous. The betrayal cut deeper than any dagger. Lily was caught between disbelief and nausea as each revelation struck like thunderclaps. Their worst fears came true. People she trusted were part of this sinister performance. "Welcome to the real show." One of the former guests laughed as the faces of power aligned against her, dark smirks plastered on their exposed features. "This isn't just about you, Lily. It's about all of us." "And your friend?" "She's merely a pawn." Cassie looked between Lily and the faces surrounding them, her eyes pleading silently for help. But what could Lily do? How could she unfurl the web of lies and deceit that had ensnared them? A voice deep within urged her to act, to dig into her past, to uncover the truths entwined with the shadowy figures before her. In a frenzy of panic, she searched the room for an escape. Could she confront them? Could she challenge these puppeteers of fate? "Remember what you learned," Cassie's voice echoed in her mind, her warning still fresh. Confront what lies beneath. Determined, Lily pulled away from Bruce, her heart racing not just with fear but with an urgency to rescue Cassie. "No!" Bruce shouted, but she was already moving, charged by the gravity of the moment. "Stay back!" The authoritative voice returned, dripping with malice and amusement. But something shifted inside Lily. She felt the pulse of the mansion, the beating heart of all its secrets thrumming beneath her feet. In that pivotal moment, she understood. She had to take back the narrative. She had to fight against whatever haunted them. As she stepped closer to the masked figure, the air thick with anticipation, Lily braced herself for the storm ahead. The darkness was beckoning, but so was a spark of defiance. Was she ready to face the truth? As she took a deep breath, the room plunged into a silence dense with unspoken chaos, leaving them all poised on the edge of a precipice. What lay beneath the shadows? What truths were waiting to emerge? With her heart pounding in her chest, Lily feared that the answers would be more terrifying than she could ever imagine. Lily felt her feet carry her forward as if they had a mind of their own. Every heartbeat resonated like the ticking of a clock, a countdown echoing in the silent chaos. What was left of the crowd became a blur around her. The faces of the unmasked figures loomed closer. Each one cried betrayal, yet the looks in their eyes flickered between triumph and something darker. Cassie's voice trembled, filled with fear that clawed at Lily's gut. The figure holding her friend tightened its grip, and Lily could almost see the wind being knocked out of Cassie's lungs. "You can't save her alone." Bruce's voice rang out again, desperate, but the real truth was dawning on Lily. She couldn't rely on anyone else to bear this weight. The stakes had become too high, and she was the one who must find the answer or doom them all. "Why, Lily? Why should we let a discarded maid petulantly disrupt our grand unveiling?" One of the unmasked figures snickered. It was a voice tinged with malevolence, one Lily recognized instantly but wished she could forget. "Because," she said, folding her hands into fists, "you can't hide behind masks and think you can control my fate or Cassie's." A murmur rippled through the crowd, as if she had thrown a stone into a still pond. Fear mingled with confusion. Had she really just said that? The room held its breath, suspended in that moment of daring defiance. "Cute," the figure smirked, stepping closer. "But you've underestimated the power we hold. We are all no one, yet we control everything. What do you think you can do?" Lily's stomach twisted. The crowd's expression changed from having their attention on the masked figures to an unexpected flicker of sympathy for her. Were they willing to change sides? She could feel that support settle around her like a comforting blanket, even amidst the chaos. "Listen," she said, her voice steadying, a fire igniting in her chest. "You think you control the narrative? This isn't just a game. This is our lives. My friends and I will expose you. You think you're safe hiding behind your wealth and status? You're wrong. Your secrets will come to light. Cassie's eyes met hers, a glimmer of hope shining amidst the fear. Lily had to believe it. Suddenly, the figure still gripping Cassie surged forward. Enough of this. It seemed to transform, its posture shifting to one of raw aggression. Lily's breath stilled as instincts kicked in, she darted forward, arms already out. No. Fear didn't paralyze her, it energized her. She would fight for Cassie, even if it meant facing the darkest lies. The figure released Cassie, surprise etched into its features as Lily collided with it, their bodies tumbling to the ground. The ballroom erupted into a cacophony of gasps and cries. Get off! The masked figure spat, narrowly avoiding Lily's grasp as it scrambled back to its feet. Cassie wasted no time, darting toward Lily, her face pale but determined. Lily, we need to find a way out. Cassie urged, pulling at her arm, urgency coating every syllable. No, Lily said, crawling back to her feet. We need to face them. This is our chance. We can turn this around. A figure sneered, absorbing the chaos. How naive. You have no idea what you're up against. With a snap of their fingers, the dance floor shifted, revealing hidden doors that spiraled into darkness, pulsing with a menacing energy. Lily felt a chill race down her spine. Her heart hammered, each beat preparing her for the worst. The room had become more than just a trap, it was a labyrinth of shadows concealing its many secrets. Together. Cassie shouted, fear morphing into fierce determination. And amidst their odds, a sliver of hope ignited between them. But just before they could step toward the ominous doors, another voice boomed above the commotion, silencing all. Enough games. We need to show them the truth of this place. Through the shadows, a figure emerged, revealing a visage that made Lily's breath hitch. She knew this face, this very essence hidden behind a mask until now, the lies they had spun. Did they all lead to this person? What did they know? That could unravel everything. Lily's heart raced, not just from fear but from a dawning realization that shook her. Could they finally confront the twisted web that bound them all? The stakes were higher than she realized, and soon, the real depths of betrayal would be revealed. The atmosphere crackled as the figure stepped forward, revealing familiar features hidden beneath the mask. It was a face that had haunted Lily's dreams, twisted her thoughts. It belonged to Marissa, her former mentor, who had once taken her under her wing. Now, Marissa's eyes blazed with a manic intensity, and on her lips curled a smirk that froze the blood in Lily's veins. Surprised to see me, dear? Marissa said, her voice dripping with sweetness that turned bitter, a mockery of their past. I always knew you had it in you to stand against the tide. But dear, tides can crush boats, can't they? The crowd stirred, a murmur weaving through the sea of masked faces. Cassie clutched Lily's arm tighter, her fear palpable, wrapping around Lily's heart like a vice. What have you done? Lily stammered, the weight of betrayal heavy in the air. The truth of Marissa's actions began to unfurl inside her like a dark flower, petals revealing secrets too painful to comprehend. Done. Marissa laughed, a sound piercing through the tension as if she held all the cards in a game spun from shadows. I've orchestrated everything. This grand unveiling. It's but a glimpse into the power we wield. And you, sweet Lily, have played right into our hands. Panic surged through Lily, coursing in her veins. They were trapped, surrounded by a sea of witnesses caught between loyalty and fear. But she refused to let the darkness consume her. You think you can control us? I won't let you. Control. Marissa echoed, stepping closer until Lily could feel the warm air radiating from her overly confident figure. Oh, it's deeper than that. It's about revealing the truth, the ugly truth. You will finally understand where you truly belong. With a flick of her wrist, Marissa gestured to the concealed doors opening wide, showcasing a dim corridor that breathed an aura of malice. Shadows danced along the edges, beckoning for anyone willing to step inside, promising both danger and tantalizing truth. Cassie's grip on Lily tightened, pulling her back as if trying to shield her from the abyss. "Lily, we can't go in there." Cassie's voice trembled, fear mingling with desperation. "It feels wrong. But we have to know." Lily shot back, her resolve ignited. "We need to confront whatever darkness Marissa has hidden in there. This is the only way." Marissa's face twisted with delight. "How brave of you. But remember, Lily, shadows don't just harbor secrets, they consume the light. Enter if you dare." And like an unholy whisper, the crowd grew silent. Every eye was locked onto the two friends, two young women against a tide of obscured adversaries. The tension was thunderous, and time seemed to stand still. "Listen," Lily said, her voice rising above the suffocating air. "We choose our own fate. It's not your twisted narrative. We will expose the truth, not just about you, but about all of this." With each word, the room shifted. Could they actually change the tide? Marissa smirked again, a cruel smile cutting through her face. "Then step into the dark. Maybe you'll find more than you bargained for." Taking a deep breath, Lily turned to face the threshold, where light dimmed into shadows waiting to swallow her whole. Cassie's heart raced beside her, but in that moment, Lily knew they had to leap into the unknown together. Together, Lily declared, a fire blazing within her. And as they stepped toward the swirling darkness, a collective gasp resonated from the assemblage, an echo of dread and anticipation, suffocating and electrifying. With every step, the shadows beckoned, revealing floor upon floor of secrets, memories unwillingly unearthed, waiting at the brink of disaster. But what awaited them in that abyss wasn't just secrets, it was fear itself, ready to pounce. At a deafening crash erupted as the doors slammed shut behind them, sealing their fate. The echo reverberated through the heart of what had once been a sanctuary. Had they crossed a line they couldn't come back from? As they moved deeper into the heart of darkness, dread curled in Lily's stomach. In the silence that followed, Lily heard Marissa's voice, softer now, a predator in the dark. "Welcome to the heart of the truth, the final act where secrets die but shadows live forever." And at that moment, Lily realized they were more than just pawns in this twisted game. They were players rising to reclaim their own story. But was it too late to unravel the web spun around them? The heartbeat of the unknown pulsed louder as each moment stretched toward an inevitable reckoning. The corridor stretched out before Lily and Cassie, an unyielding expanse swallowed by darkness. Shadows crawled over the walls, whispering secrets they couldn't decipher. Lily felt the chill creeping under her skin, the air was thick with anticipation and dread. "Stay close to me," Lily murmured, attempting to mask her own tremors. Determination thrummed in her veins, but fear lurked just beneath the surface. Cassie nodded, her eyes wide with terror, but the strength in her grip was reassuring. Together was their only option. As they ventured deeper, the lights flickered to life, revealing twisted images on the walls, fragments of memories, moments gone wrong. Faces of people they once trusted twisted in agony, their eyes pleading, their mouths gasping for breath. Each image seemed to pulse, weaving a tapestry of guilt and despair that seeped into their very souls. This feels wrong," Cassie whispered, her voice barely audible over the electric hum of the room. "What if this is a trap?" Lily shook her head. "No. We have to see this through. We need to know what Marissa is hiding." Each step forward felt like stepping deeper into the nightmare, but they forged ahead. Voices clawed at their minds, echoes of doubt and despair clawing at Lily's courage. Suddenly, they came upon a large chamber, its edges concealed in shadow. The air hung heavy with an eerie stillness, broken only by the soft crackle of energy that sent tingles through their skin. At the center stood a pedestal, upon which lay a small, intricately carved box. It glimmered under the dim light, an exotic item that seemed freezing in contrast to the dark surroundings. "What do you think it is?" Cassie asked, fear shimmering in her tone. "Only one way to find out," Lily replied, stepping forward. Her heart pounded in her chest as she reached for the box. It felt warm to the touch, almost alive in her hands. Wait. What if it's a Cassie started, but before she could finish, the box sprang open with a sharp click, and a rush of air swept through the chamber. Inside lay an array of photographs, each one distinct and haunting. Faces, places, and moments coalescing into a narrative too dark to comprehend. Lily's breath hitched as she flipped through them. Familiar faces surfaced, those they loved and trusted. There were names written in Marissa's handwriting, allies, enemies, everyone that had played a role in the web of manipulation. Lily, look. Cassie's hand dug into Lily's shoulder, drawing her attention. One photo stood out, a snapshot of them, wide smiles and innocence shining through. But over the image, black ink scrawled Marissa's chaotic handwriting, "Your destiny was mine to write." This is a sick game," Cassie stammered. "It's more than that," Lily breathed out, her pulse racing. The realization crashed over her like an avalanche. She's been using us. All this time. We were just pieces in her twisted game. Thundering footsteps echoed through the corridor behind them, snapping their attention back to reality. Panic surged as the sound grew closer, the air thickening with malice. "Lily. We need to go now." Cassie yelled, urgency in every word. "No, Cassie. We can't just run." Lily's voice was steadier than she felt. "We need to confront her. We can't let her decide our fate." A door to their left burst open, revealing Marissa standing there, shrouded in darkness, her eyes glinting with a predatory hunger. "Well done, little ones," she purred, stepping into the flickering light, the shadows licking at her heels. "You found my truth." Fear wrapped around Lily like a serpent, but in the depths of her gut, fury ignited. "We won't let you control us any longer." Marissa's laugh echoed unnaturally, sharp and unkind. "Oh, sweet Lily, you truly believe you have a choice in this game? The die is cast." As the air crackled with impending chaos, Lily felt a powerful surge within her. No more running. It was time to reveal the player behind the mask, but just as the tension peaked, Marissa's smile turned sinister. "Let us see if you're truly ready for the final act." And before they could react, the ground beneath them trembled violently, the walls roaring as if the very house wanted to expel them into the underworld. Lily's world spun, and she realized that they had walked straight into an impossible trap. With the chamber collapsing around them, she gripped Cassie's arm tight, the reality setting in. They were in the fight of their lives now, backed against a wall of shadows and betrayal. What had they awakened in that cursed darkness? Lily's heart raced as the ground heaved beneath them. The pedestal quaked, and the photographs scattered like leaves in a storm, a whirlwind of lost memories flying away. Panic took root in her chest, squeezing her lungs. "Lily, we can't stay here." Cassie's voice trembled, barely able to pierce through the chaos. "Just hold on." Lily shouted, her voice igniting with fierce determination. With her free hand, she swept the scattered photos off the ground, her fingers grazing over familiar faces, each glance a stabbing reminder of trust shattered. The very walls shrieked with the weight of their history, and Marissa seemed more shadow than flesh, her laughter echoing, mingling with the groans of the building. "You think you've uncovered the truth?" "Oh, honey, that's just the surface," she hissed, each word dripping with venomous glee. "Shut up!" Cassie yelled, but fear flicked in her gaze, glancing nervously at the crumbling edges of the chamber. The tremors intensified, and without warning, a massive chunk of the ceiling broke loose, crashing down in a cloud of dust and debris. Lily yanked Cassie to the side just in time, the sound of crunching stone filling the air with a violent roar. "We need a way out," she cried, her voice hoarse from both fear and exertion. Marissa's smile curled, inching closer. "There is no escape, only acceptance. You're mine now." Her words dripped with a chilling finality. Lily searched the room, desperation clawing at her. "We need to get to the door." She pointed to a dim outline at the far end, partly obscured by shadow. "It's too far," Cassie shouted, eyes wide with dread. Together. We can do this. Lily replied, gripping Cassie's arm tighter, feeling the warmth flow between them, a tether woven from their shared terror and resilience. They bolted toward the door, the ground beneath them continuing to sway like a living beast. Every step was a fight, the air thick with a palpable, suffocating dread. Shadows danced around them, twisting, reaching, taunting them with whispered promises of failure. Suddenly, Marissa's voice sliced through the chaos, carrying an edge sharper than any knife. Why run? Embrace it. This is just the beginning. Your choices matter little once the game is set. Ignoring her taunts, they sprinted. As they neared the door, the very brick seemed to pulse with energy, as if mourning their flight. Without a thought for the consequences, Lily shoved against the heavy door. It resisted, but her adrenaline surged, the primal instinct to survive eclipsing all rational thought. With a grunt, the door cracked open, light pouring in like salvation. They flung themselves through, landing hard on the cold floor beyond with a collective gasp. Breathless, they searched their surroundings. The hallway stretched infinitely, but there was no sign of escape. The scent of old wood and damp stone filled their lungs while the distant beat of Marissa's laughter echoed through the walls, a haunting melody wrapped in menace. Where do we go now? Cassie breathed, eyes darting. Her panic was palpable, rising like steam. We can't give up. Not now, Lily insisted, spurred on by a flicker of determination. We need to find a way to stop her. If she is playing a game, we have to turn the tables. Just as she spoke, an abrupt stillness fell over the corridor, freezing them in place. Shadows shifted unnaturally, swirling and forming a figure at the end, eyes glowing with intent. Without another moment to spare, they bolted down the hall, but the figure raised a hand, and with a flicker of darkness, the world twisted around them, reshaping like clay in the hands of an unseen sculptor. Lily! Cassie cried, fear enveloping her voice, then everything bent, and a crack split the air, leaving Lily with the gut-wrenching realization they might not escape the game at all. Could they trust their instincts, or were they forever trapped in Marissa's labyrinth? The chilling laughter rose behind them as they raced into the unknown. The world swirled, then snapped sharply into focus. Lily and Cassie stumbled, disoriented, the scent of damp earth and rust clinging thickly to the air. They were no longer in the corridor. Instead, they found themselves in a cavernous room, illuminated by flickering overhead lights that cast deep shadows across the cracked concrete floor. Where are we? Cassie gasped, her voice barely a whisper, merging with the ominous silence that surrounded them. I don't know, Lily replied, heart pounding like thunder in her ears. An echo of Marissa's laughter danced on the edges of her mind, a cruel reminder that nowhere felt safe. The walls glistened like wet skin, slick with what could only be blood. This isn't good. Cassie backed away sharply, eyeing the walls as if they might reach out and grab her. They took a cautious step forward, the echo of their footfalls resonating unnervingly in the vast space. As they scanned the surroundings, Lily's breath caught in her throat. At the far end of the chamber stood a massive mural, warped and twisted, depicting figures in a grotesque dance, their faces contorted in expressions of both ecstasy and horror. She felt a chill sweep through her. It looks like they're caught, Cassie whispered, her eyes wide with fear. In a performance or a trap? What if that's us next? Lily felt the shadows inch closer, the weight of unseen eyes pressing upon them. They weren't just in a labyrinth. They were part of Marissa's twisted theatrical production, and the stakes had never been higher. Without warning, the lights flickered violently, plunging them into darkness. A breathless moment passed before a spotlight burst to life, illuminating a single stage at the center of the room. Atop it stood Marissa, draped in flowing black fabric, eyes glinting like obsidian, a wicked smile curling on her lips. "Welcome, my darlings." Her voice danced through the air, syrupy and sickening. "You've entered the heart of the game. Time to play. Let us go." Lily shouted, her voice breaking, filled with desperation. She could see the gleam of something sharp in Marissa's hands, glinting ominously in the spotlight. "Ah, but you see, the only way out is to dance," Marissa cooed, mocking them. "The rhythm waits for no one." A primal fear surged in Lily, draining the blood from her limbs. Dance? She felt a mix of disbelief and dread wash over her. Marissa pointed dramatically, and suddenly, music filled the room, a haunting waltz that wrapped around them, pulling at their bodies. It seeped into their veins, hostile and invasive. "Dance, dear girls. Or watch as your fate unfolds." Marissa's laughter echoed, rising into a crescendo that clashed with the melody. Cassie looked at Lily, panic painting her features. They had to move, and yet their bodies felt frozen, caught in a spell of darkness and despair. "Josh," Cassie suddenly murmured, eyes alight with a realization. "He said something about a hidden step. Something that could break the spell. Then we have to remember." What would he do? Lily's thoughts raced. Josh always spoke of improvising, of feeling the beat of one's heart. Could they reshape this twisted dance? "Think, Lily. Think." Cassie urged, the dark rhythm pulling at them, an invisible tether that threatened to drag them back into the waiting arms of Marissa. With every ounce of conviction, Lily dug into the depths of her memory. Summoning strength from within, she focused. She would not become a puppet in Marissa's cruel performance. "Follow my lead," she shouted, determination igniting a spark. As the waltz swirled around them, she began to move, each step defiant, each angle a direct rebellion against the sinister melody. But as they danced, the shadows shifted again, swirling faster and closer. Marissa's laughter faltered, morphing into a low growl. "Dance all you want. You're mine forever." As the figures from the mural twisted in grotesque glee, the ground beneath them trembled once more, setting their feet unsteadily. "Are we just delaying the inevitable?" Cassie gasped, gripping Lily's hand tightly. "No. We are the ones who will write our ending," Lily countered, a fierce energy coursing through her. But could their desperate dance cut through the darkness? Or would they be swallowed whole by Marissa's malice? And then, a blinding flash erupted, threatening to shatter everything, even their fragile hope. Would they escape the haunting waltz, or had they unwittingly sealed their fate in Marissa's deadly game? Lily and Cassie swirled through the chaos, hearts hammering against their ribcages, the darkness glaring down at them like a predator. With each step, Lily realized something essential: they were not just fighting for survival. They were battling to reclaim their lives, their stories woven in the fabric of this corrupted masquerade. Together, she shouted, urgency threading through her voice as she pulled Cassie with her, guiding her through the haunting steps. They mirrored the dance portrayed in the mural, twisting and turning with defiance, every movement charged with purpose. The music flared, a monstrous echoing beneath the floor's surface, yet they found a rhythm, a pulse beneath the madness, a heartbeat guiding them. Marissa's face twisted, a storm of confusion and anger sparking across her expression. "You can't escape it. You can't change the rhythm." Her voice clawed at the air, but Lily could feel the fabric of Marissa's influence fraying, loosening. "Watch us," Lily called back, her confidence igniting a fire among the shadows. They weren't just following a script, they were rewriting a future framed by belief and bravery. As they spun out of the darkness, the shadows began to dissipate, the grip of fear glimmering like smoke. Marissa surged forward, eyes blazing with fury. She thrust her hand toward them, a blade shimmering dangerously. "You think you can win? This power, this moment, it belongs to me." But with an instinct honed by desperation, Lily and Cassie clung to their newfound rhythm, weaving in and out of Marissa's grasp. Each step shattered the illusions of control she wielded, the dance of their creation entwined with truth, a powerful connection to the past and every betrayal that had culminated in this terrifying moment. "Stop fighting it, Lily," Marissa screeched in desperation, but the tightening grip of shadows began to unravel around them as they found a spark deep inside, a shared memory igniting the way forward. With one final push, they leapt into a spin that radiated light, hurtling into the blinding flash that had threatened to consume them. The music faded into a gasp, and moments stretched out, allowing clarity to crash over them. Suddenly, the cacophony ceased. They stumbled from the darkness into a blinding white light, the chill of panic melting away. Lily squinted, the warmth enveloping them. In a heartbeat, she realized they stood in a serene garden, the remnants of the gala whispering behind them like a bad dream. "Did we?" Cassie breathed, relief pushing her voice beyond tremors. "We did it!" Lily exclaimed, emotions colliding within her: relief, determination, and hope. She clutched Cassie's hand tighter, both feeling the tether they shared gaining strength in the safety of the garden, but that joy was short-lived as figures emerged from the edges of the surroundings, specters from the shadows, their faces still seared into the colors of betrayal. The crowd from the ballroom materialized, guests caught between disbelief and confrontation. Bruce's eyes locked onto them, his expression torn between suspicion and admiration. "What just happened?" Bruce demanded. The confusion spoke to the challenge they'd overcome, and fear began to swirl through the crowd once more. Lily's heart raced again, this time amplifying her resolve. "You've been puppets, dancing to a tune written by someone else. No more. We take control of our stories now." Courage dripped from her words, and for the first time, she watched a flicker of recognition spark in the eyes of those who had mocked her. "Help us expose the truth," Cassie added. "We've faced the worst, and we survived." The tension shifted, shadows wavering, perhaps relinquishing their grasp on fear for the lure of unity, of facing their own truths as a collective. "Meet me at the center," Bruce announced, his voice breaking through the restless whispers, a leader emerging amidst the fear. "Let us bring this to light. Together." Lily felt something unbreakable wrap around her heart. This was not just about them anymore. It was an awakening, as others stepped from the sidelines. Gathering in support, a coalition devoted to unraveling secrets that had long chained them. In that moment, something shifted. The garden shimmered with the energy of a new dawn. The concept of belonging, of overcoming darkness together, hadn't merely freed them, it had rung the bells of a new beginning. "We stand united against lies and deception, against the shadows that sought to consume us," Lily declared, her voice ringing out over the gathering, drawing in their collective strength. The crowd, now a sea of murmured agreement, pulled together in fervent resolve. Lily watched as the once divided guests merged with allies, their faces steeled with determination. This was the flourish of hope in the wake of chaos, a breath amid despair, and in the distance stood Marissa, her eyes filled with unyielding rage, a new reality tearing at her grasp. As they all took a collective breath, the stark, brilliant sun above bathed them in the purity of truth, radically altering the path that lay before them. The haunting waltz faded into memory, but the resolve burned bright, lighting the way toward a new chapter free from manipulation and infused with authentic significance. They had reclaimed their lives. They were no longer dancers, they were the rulers of their own stories. This was just the beginning. And as Lily held Cassie's hand, both resolute and free, she knew that every choice from that moment forward would shape their future in ways they had yet to see. Now it was time to embrace hope, to forge ahead, and write their own destinies, unmasked and unchained. And if you enjoyed this powerful conclusion, subscribe immediately to the channel so you don't miss the next exclusive stories. Smash that like button now to feed the algorithm and support the channel. Flood the comments section with your reactions and theories about the ending. And don't wait even one more second to share this video with at least 5 friends who need to see this conclusion. You need to support the channel now if you're a true fan.